later. Okay. So basically, we are going to record and so that others can follow us well. Welcome once more to this platform. I'm your instructor for today, and I've always been the one. I'm Ikoba Ferdinand, who will be taking you through this. Last time we had the orientation, we had some introduction to web, and now today we are starting on a hands-on experience. And I believe all of us have at least installed the IDE which I talked about that is supposed to install, and that is the Visual Studio, which are supposed to install, but I believe all of us have installed. However, today, I would like us to start by looking at some few PowerPoint. Like I said, today we are going to basically focus on what I will refer to as practicals. So I believe, can you see my screen now? Somebody confirm if you can see my screen. Can somebody confirm on call? You can unmute your microphone and confirm whether you're seeing my screen.
Yeah, it is visible. It is visible.
Yes, it's clear.
Okay, somebody who has music in the background, please mute that microphone. So last time, if you can all recall, we looked at basics of web, and we looked at some of the basic web languages. We talked about the HTML, we talked about the CSS, and we talked about the JavaScript. So of course, for us who are aspiring into web dev or people who are into this bootcamp, HTML is one of the biggest language. Of course, I believe if you're not new on the call today, you should be having some basic understanding of HTML. So maybe before we proceed, can I have somebody to have a submission on what HTML is in full? Just maybe somebody to explain what HTML is, especially those who were on call last time. You can just go ahead and unmute. Yes, the microphone is unmuted. You can go ahead.
Yeah, this is Jeff Bahati.
Yes, go ahead.
HTML basically in full is hypertext markup language.
Mm-hmm. So what does it basically do?
It's basically used for, is it optimizing? There is that word, okay. The web, the text on the web, the layout of the web.
Wow, that's interesting. Anybody with a different idea? Anybody with a different idea? Okay, Mr. Joke, you were there on call last time. Do you have an idea? Okay, maybe Joke will continue, maybe we'll contribute later on. So basically, like what Jeff said, HTML in full is hypertext markup language. It's not fully programming language. Of course, it's just basically structures, the structure of a website, how you see a website looks. Last time I gave an example of a skeleton of a human being. In primary school, when you could learn science, they could basically in primary 7, they could tell you to draw a skeleton. So in brief, I would say HTML is a skeleton of a website. As our skeletons are bones, HTML or the hypertext markup language is a skeleton of a web browser. Now, so today we are going to look at, and the HTML, there is HTML3, there are XML and others, but the latest HTML, which is now available, is HTML5. So during this bootcamp, we shall be looking at HTML5. Okay. Don't know what's wrong. Okay, fine. So during this, the lesson we're having today, we are going to define what HTML is. We are going to look at the basic HTML structure, as in how HTML looks. Then we're going to look at HTML tags. Those are the components which make up HTML, or the components which make up the web browser. So when we're supposed to define HTML, HTML simply stands for hypertext markup language. So it's a coding language, or we would say it's a programming language, which is used to create web pages that are viewed on the internet. All of us at least know what an internet is. Like, we're able to come to this call because we have an internet. So when we're referring to the website or what we access, basically we are viewing HTML pages. So it is used to structure a website. What you see is basically HTML, and then where are the content supposed to be? For instance, okay, so it gives us a layout of like where are we supposed to put what, which content is supposed to be there, including texts. Like for instance, you're seeing text right now. This is not a website, this is just a PowerPoint, but of course you see text, something written on a web page. You see images, you see links which takes you to another side, and also other media like videos and GIF and a lot of other stuff. Now, when you're talking about HTML, it consists of basically tags. It consists of tags. I don't know how I set my Zoom today. It's making me to be admitting people one by one, but it's fine. I never wanted to be admitting. I wanted anybody to join, but it's cool. Okay, let's continue ahead. Then it basically consists of tags with enclosed brackets. Of course, when you're talking about enclosed bracket, for instance, you can look at this. There are some tags here which are enclosed. There is the opening tag and the closing tag. So with the time when we are diving deep into HTML and what's so forth, we shall be in position to see how we're going to use these tags. Of course, I know it might not be something completely new for some of us, but of course, some of us might be getting exposed to it for the first time. So basically, get familiar with the usage of those tags. Then the tags provide instructions to the web browser. The same way I can give instruction, okay, please, like to a small child, if there's a baby, if there is fire, you tell the child, don't touch the fire. Now, for this case, with HTML, those tags give instructions, like what a web browser is supposed to do. Last time we looked at some of the examples of web browsers. We looked at the most popular ones like Chrome, Firefox, Mozilla. We looked at Explorer. We looked at Edge. Those are some of the most common like web browsers. So these tags give instruction to what a web browser is supposed to do. So the tag indicates the text that follows should be displayed as a, like if there's this tag, it tells the web browser, like for example, Google Chrome, which is the most popularly used one. Okay, this tag is instructing the web browser to do this and that. Then, for example, we have one of the examples of the tag, which is the H1 tag. So, of course, today we shall know what the H1 tag is. So the H1 tag indicates the text that follows should be displayed as a top-level heading. So H1 tag is basically a heading of maybe a website or any other. Yes? Somebody's talking?
Yes.
Yes, Bakole. Hurry. Yes, Mr. Harry, do you have a submission? I can see your microphone unmuted. Okay, good. We can go ahead.
No, sorry, it happened accidentally. Sorry.
Okay, cool. Okay, sure. No problem. So, like one of the examples of the tag is the H1 tag. So here it shows the one with the highest hierarchy. Of course, when you're showing titles, like maybe the title of the page, like a welcome page on the landing site. Let's look at somebody's entering. Okay, fine. You'll excuse me. I'm admitting people as well. For example, this is the basic structure of a HTML document. This is how a website looks. Of course, for you, you see the graphics, you see the images, but this is a website. This is a complete website, what you can see. So there is, if you can see, there is the doc type HTML. So this doc type HTML, this is simply, let me use this. So when you see this doc type HTML, this one shows that the HTML you're dealing with is HTML5. It is defining the type of the HTML you're dealing with for this case. So we are dealing with HTML5. Then when you look at here, there's this section which is referring to as the HTML. So HTML, this one encloses the whole website. We have the headings. I mean, we have the head and the heading, they are two different things. When we're looking at semantic HTMLs, we shall look at difference between headings and head. And then we have the title. For instance, here, this title will define my website. And then we have, here we are closing the body. Remember, earlier on I said, these tags, we close them, we open the tags with these brackets, and we close us. Meanwhile, when you're closing, you have to use the slash. So we have the body. Now this is where our website is. Whatever you see, whatever you yourself you see as a user, when you click on a website, whatever you see is what is comprised in the body. For example, we have the H1, which is saying, welcome to my web page. So this is the when you're looking at titles, it has the highest hierarchy. It's showing that, okay, welcome to my website. For instance, if you visit a site, you'll see a landing page, for example, welcome to iFed Technologies, something like that, welcome to this. So that is, then you will see images, you will see multimedia contents and what so forth, and a lot of stuff. So basically, this is how HTML is. Okay, this is how a website is. What you're just seeing is a complete website, and I believe by the end of this class, we shall be able to write this on an IDE. When I talk of IDE, maybe to somebody who is completely new may get stuck, but people who have been here since we have been starting these classes, when we talk of IDE, we simply refer to the Integrated Development Environment. It's, should I call it a software where you can write codes in order to develop maybe software systems, to develop websites and any other stuff. So basically, this is how a website looks. Of course, we shall see how it looks practically in some few minutes. Okay, let's go to the next. Oh, my annotation is still here. Okay. So here are some of the tags. Here are some of the basic HTML tags. For example, we have the doc type, which I talked about earlier. So we have the doc type. Now, when we're talking about the doc type here, it tells the browser. Somebody's joining in. Okay. We have the doc type HTML, which was the first one here. When you're looking at the structure this side, sorry. So when I was showing you here, we had the doc type. So let's see what the doc type does. So this tells the browser that this is a HTML5 document. The web browser, for instance, you're having the Google Chrome. I like using Google Chrome because it's one of the most popular one. And then, so the doc type tells, for example, I told you we have the HX HTML, we have HTML3 and the rest, but the latest HTML is HTML5. So when you type doc type, remember, this doc type must be in capital letters because some of you may do a mistake of typing it in small letters. The web browser cannot understand which language it is. So one of the things you should always understand and be very conscious of is, what am I typing? Am I specific? Am I being observant on like the data I'm trying to put in the IDE? Now, there's another one which we looked at here, which was the HTML, which is here. So this HTML, this tag is the utmost tag in an HTML document. It encloses all other tags. It indicates that the document you're using is HTML. Of course, we have very many other things. We have the CSS, we have the JavaScript. Of course, during this course, we shall look at, after HTML, we're looking at CSS, which is the cascading style sheet. And then we shall look at JavaScript. And then if this bootcamp is done and we feel like we have to go ahead, of course, we shall have the leave of around 3 months to practice. Then we can go to back-end development. That is on the server side. What we are doing right now is on the client side. Oh yeah, Lamek, the recordings are there. You're going to get the recordings. Don't worry about that. You get the recordings. The recordings are always available. Actually, the previous recordings as well, they are there. Okay, so we have the HTML. So this tag encloses all other tags which are within. So basically, a website comprises of numerous tags. Then we have the head. So this head tag contains the metadata about the document. We shall look at metadata later when we are going into CSS and what so forth. And of course, even in the next class and what so forth, we shall get to understand what metadata is. So it gives the the head basically contains the metadata about the document. For example, the title of the page. Of course, for example, you're working on a portfolio website, you'll write my portfolio to be the title. Then any link, for example, the style sheets. When I talk about style sheets, you're also going to get familiar with style sheets. I refer to the CSS, the one which gives design. I said HTML is the decoration, is the skeleton. Then CSS is like the flesh, or which is covering a skeleton. So we are going to look at that, and we refer to it as style sheets. We link them to the HTML. Of course, we're yet looking at HTML. After the 3 weeks, we shall be in position to look at the CSS. Then we shall get to understand style sheet better, or even scripts. When we talk of scripts, I'm referring to JavaScript. So we link them to the HTML document. And basically, those are the languages we shall be looking at: HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. Then we shall also look at React. It's a framework of JavaScript. So The head is not visible to the user. The user like you who uses the website, you cannot see the head. And then we also have another tag, which is called the title. So this tag is used to define the title of the web page, which appears in the browser or Windows. For instance, if you're to search maybe ifedtechnologies.com, when you search, Google search will bring you results. Now, what you're able to read up on the search bar, Abongo Romano. Okay, I've unmuted him already. Okay, so what you see in the search bar or on the title bar is basically what we refer to as the title. Then we have the body. Of course, I said earlier on, body consists of everything, what you're able to see, the images and everything on a website, that is part of the body of a website. Then we also have some other tags, like we have the headings, which is the H1, H2, H3, H4, H5, H6. So these tags are used to define headings of different levels. For instance, the H1 is used for the top level heading on the page, while H2 is used for a subheading, and so on. The examples continues. H1 is the top higher level. For example, it can be on the landing page where you can say, welcome to IFED Technologies, e-learning system. And then the subheading can be maybe our courses, our instructors, and what so forth. Of course, we shall get familiar with that with time as we practice as well. And then we have another very important tag, which is called the P tag. So remember, you should always put them in the curly brackets. So we have the P tag. This tag is used for paragraphs. For text, for example, you can say, this is my first web page using HTML. So that one shows paragraph. For instance, if you're writing in Word, some of you space indent, some of you start from the indent line and what so forth. So on a website, we use the P tag to define a paragraph. So these things like blog, you see, they have written on a website and what so forth, they have used the paragraph, which is referred to as the P tag. And then we have the UL, which is referred to as unordered list. We have the unordered list and ordered list. So when you talk of UL, you refer to unordered list. Then you talk of OL, you refer to ordered list. Then LI is used to list items in this list. For example, you may find on a website, they have written something, okay, we have this, for example, then they put 1, 2, 3, they list items. So when they put 1, 2, 3, they're using the ordered list. Then when they put dots or bullets, they're using the unordered list. Okay, Mr. Romano, I can see you. Maybe you can mute the video if you don't mind for network stability. Okay. Sorry. Okay. So we can use this, the ordered list and unordered list to create a list and what's up. For example, we can see here, this is a sample code. This is a code, a HTML code, which is showing UL, and then we have LI, the list of items. Remember to always put this slash to close the tag. This is the unordered list, example of unordered list. Then we have the div tag or the span. So we use these tags to group and style content on a web page. So we can use the div for a larger section of a content, while span is used for small bits of content, such as single word or phrases. For example, div class. So this is some example of a HTML code. Main, H2, we have used the second level of the heading, introduction, and then welcome to my web page. Of course, I've condensed a lot of content today because we're having classes 3 times a week. And I guess for people who are on the WhatsApp platform, you already have a course text. I gave you a course text earlier on today, which is focusing on JavaScript, CSS, and of course, HTML, everything we're going to cover in this bootcamp. So you're supposed to also read that course text as well to supplement on whatever we are doing. Of course, now we said div tag is used to group, and then we have the span tag. It is used to group a smaller bit of a content, maybe a line, a paragraph, or a word, and what so forth. So one thing you should note is that HTML is straightforward and easy to read language. it is important to remember that each tag has a specific purpose and must be closed properly to avoid errors. You may find you've written your HTML code and you're displaying on the web browser, it is showing errors, and you'll be wondering, what is wrong? What did I do wrong? Maybe you may find you have not closed your tag well. So in most cases, tags are closed with matching tag that includes a forward slash. For instance, this, like you can see here, like this, it should have a forward slash in the brackets. That is when you're closing the tag. If you don't have this, you can struggle the whole day. Your browser will not be able to read the exact content you've written, or it will be reading some error. Then you'll be struggling, crashing. You think you've not written the right code when you did not put the exact punctuation. In plain English, I would say punctuation. But in programming, of course, when you've not closed the tag properly. So you can also use any text editor. For example, the one I prefer most for people to use is the Visual Studio Code. Of course, you can also use the Sublime Text Editor. And make sure when you're saving your file, you have a .html extension. For example, if you're saving in Word document, you use the .doc, and the rest of the whatever .pdf and what so forth. But of course, if you're saving a HTML document, you have to use the .html extension. Then you have to make sure also you practice creating your own web page, with headings, paragraphs, and lists and what so forth, like what you've just been looking at. So yeah, I think this brings us to the end of the slide. Now, what we are going to look at, I'm going to open an IDE, and then I will expect all of us as well to be there. So if you're on a computer right now, you help me. And if you're on a computer and you have installed the Visual Studio Code, can I first, before I continue, can I get to know how many people have installed Visual Studio Code? You can just type in the chat if you have installed, or you can open the mic and tell me. I want to know how many people have installed, or even you can raise your hands. You can raise your hand, you can type in the chat, you can open and talk. Okay. Look, okay. I can see somebody has installed. Jock Daniel has installed. Can I get another hand up? Because for the next step we are going, should be when you have already installed. Okay, if you have not installed, please make sure you do after this call. And you may find there are some of you who are not yet maybe on the platform. Please, if you're not in the platform, let me put my number. Let me hope you're all Ugandans. Okay, let me just put the country code as well. If you're all Ugandan, I'll just put my number though. So you can tap me on that number via WhatsApp. I've given it in the chat room. You can copy it down and you tap me. Now, Mr. Joke, I believe you have installed. If you have installed, please open your Visual Studio. Hope all of you are seeing my dark screen. Of course, yours may not look exactly like mine. There are some other projects I've been working on here. Mr. Joke, can you confirm for me? I want us to go in the same speed with you. At least you have installed. Mr. Joke, have you opened yours already? Oh, good. Okay, Romano has also installed. That's very good. Okay, fine. Now we are going to open. When you open your Visual Studio, of course, I believe it should open for you something like this. So we are going to click on a new file. So when you click on a new file, it will bring for you options for Java, Jupyter. Okay, if you're just new, it may ask you for a text file. But of course, if you've been doing some programming assignments, it will bring some of the things you've been doing most. So for this case, we're going to click on text file. Now, when we click on text file, it will open. Now, it has opened for us NIDE. This is the environment we're going to be working on. Is my screen so small? I zoom out, I zoom in, I zoom out. Okay. So hope now people can see this, right? Now, here what you're going to do, very good. So now what we're going to do here is, remember we said we are supposed to start with declaring our document type. We have to make the web browser know which type of document we're going to clear in. So we are going to start with the opening bracket. So we're going to type doc type. I'm going to be very fast. Our minutes are few. We are remaining with 10 minutes. So we are going to be like doc type. Remember, we are supposed to start with apostrophe. I'd forgotten that. Doc type, supposed to be in capital letters. You space. HTML is in small letters. So when you close here, the IDE will know, of course, what you're writing is in HTML. So to save, you can you can Control S. You click on Control and S. Now we are going to save our document. So we want to save. Where do you want to save? I want to save it on desktop. I had not created a file earlier on. I want to save it on desktop. So I'll look for, I'll look for where I want to save my work. Let me see. Okay. Let me save it here on Bootcamp resources. I'm just saving it on what we're doing for the bootcamp. Okay. So what am I going to title it? Let me set a project 1. The best way to do it is to put it as index.html, but I want to put it as project 1 because I don't have any other thing called project 1. So let me save it as project 1. Remember the type of the document. It has already picked HTML. So if it does not pick HTML, you're supposed to select. Now I've saved my document as HTML. Now here my document is saved. The web browser will be in position to know. Now what am I going to do? We said we are supposed to start by creating as well the HTML so that we enclose all the documents inside. So I'm going to open my brackets. I'm going to type HTML. Of course, this is Visual Studio. It can autocorrect or it can auto-predict what you're going to type next. So I'm going to click on this. Then when I close, Visual Studio automatically closes for me this. I don't know whether you're able to see. It automatically brought for me the closing, whereby there is the / and the other one. But if you use Sublime Text Editor, actually that is the best one, where it does not enclose for you automatic. You're supposed to know. So we are going to be using both. Otherwise, actually, you're supposed to use Sublime, which does not auto finish. But this one is good for somebody who is a little bit advanced, you know what you're doing, and saves you time. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to enter. So when I enter, I've already put the doc type. I've declared I'm using HTML5, and I've specified my document is what? Is HTML. Now, what am I doing next? Somebody is talking. Please, let's mute our microphones. Joanna. Okay. So what am I going to do next? I'm going to the next, which is what? The head. Okay. Where are we? Okay, fine. No. This is not what you're supposed to do. I've opened something different. Okay, so I'm going to go to my head. I'll click on head. It has auto-suggested here. I'll close. So I've closed here. I can enter. And then I'll open again. I'll click on title. Title. What should our title be? Let me say my first web page. My first web page. So after heading, what am I going to do? I have to bring the body where my documents will be, what I'm able to see on the what? On the internet. Okay, let me open. Okay, then I'll type body. Okay, when I click on body, when I close, it automatically closes for me. So I'm going to bring the heading, which is the heading 1. We type H1. I close. Then what should I be my H1? My what? Okay, my website. Let me just say my website. Something very simple. Now, when I put this, I have to make sure I save. Now, saving, I like using shortcuts. I can say Control S. Now, when I click on Control S, I've written this. I've already developed a website. I've finished a website as simple as this. Now, what I'm going to do here, I'll right click. Then I'm going to go to I'm going to go to, let me right click quick. Okay, why? It is too much. I've zoomed it too much. Okay, let me zoom it in a bit. Okay, I'll right click. So I'll be like open in the browsers. I like going to other browsers because my default browser is Edge. So when I go to open in other browsers, it will bring for me option to open with the Google Chrome. So when I click here, I'll be able to open. So when I open my browser, you see, you're able to see my website. Can we all see what's on the internet? What is on the web browser?
Yes.
So you see, I've created my first website. I was able to write something on the internet. So that is how cheap writing a website is. So I can add something. Maybe I can write, let me see, what should I write next? Let me write something else. My website I've written. Now I want to write a paragraph. For instance, let me write, we said write paragraph with a P tag. So I've put my P tag there. It has been closed. Oh, Mr. Jock Daniel, the speed is too much, sure. I'm sorry, you're going to cop up with the recordings or we shall chat. We're remaining with 4 minutes. I want us to catch up with that time. Other conversations will continue. Okay, so here's my P tag. So I'm going to say, this is my official website for Aikoboa. That's my name, by the way. Aikoboa Ferdinand. So I'll do my Control S. So this time around, I don't need to right click and left click and do what's so forth. I'll just go back to my browser. So when I go back to my browser, so as per the browser, I'll just click on this. There is a sign to reload. So when I click on reload, my website should be able to load. So you can see, this is my official website for Aikoboa Ferdinand. Are we able to see the web browser also, or we are not seeing? Something I want to confirm. Are we just seeing the dark environment, or we are seeing this white one? Hello, can somebody confirm this? So maybe, I'm not sure, people are not confirming, but this is what we have just written. This is what you had written, what you have just written from the program we're writing. So the other side, what was in the dark environment is what the programmer sees. Meanwhile, this is what the user sees. So you have written my first website, and this is my official website for Aikoboa Ferdinand. Meanwhile, on the other side, like we can see here, this is what the programmer sees. You as a developer, or you have written this code, but somebody who is not a programmer or whatsoever just sees this, the user. So basically, in the interest of time, we are remaining with 2 minutes. I would like to give these 2 minutes for any question. If you have any question, please ask, and don't hesitate. Go ahead and ask. We can have discussions in the chat room on WhatsApp. You can always come to me in the inbox. I can chat with you anytime. So the room is open. We shall continue from here. This is what we can do for today. I'm going to give you assignment on WhatsApp. And for those who have not yet downloaded the VS Code, please feel free, reach me. We can download together. So the room is open. If you have question in the 2 minutes, we can respond to that. You're welcome.
All right. It's me, Daniel.
Okay.
First of all, I want to take this opportunity once again to thank you so much for your time to meet us this evening. And secondly, yes, I was complaining about the speed because I was left behind. But I hope next time I will catch up very fast.
Sure.
Then about the issue of timing, the scheduling of our sessions, I would request that we make a specific time such that people are always aware that from this time to the other time shall be having a training session on.
Okay.
I think majority would have joined on time schedule. that is not yet so fixed. That's why they were unable. Otherwise, so far so good. I've learned already something new today.
Okay, fine.
Thank you.
Okay, about the time, I personally I thought about 5 p.m., but some people said 5 p.m. is not appropriate. So I thought about 8. But of course, we are still getting the best time. And of course, some people might be on the platform when they're not interested. You get the point? So go with the